All right, complete change of scenery. George came over today. He had ordered the Avionics, and a lot of the stuff came in. Our two G3X screens are still on back order, and one of the batteries is on back order, and our transponder is on back order. So we literally brainstormed for about, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours, and I think this is what we're gonna do. This is the engine management. This is the serial converter thingy. We're doing the vertical power. We talked about doing the PPS, and I think we agreed that the value isn't there. So we're gonna do the starter solenoid. The PPS is a vertical power piece that does all of the mechanical switching in solid state form, but it's like $1,600, so we opted against it. Anyway, long story short, I think I'm going to make a piece of aluminum. It bolts into here, trying to figure out the best way to do it. We have two backup batteries, one for the avionics and one for the ignition. And I kind of would like to integrate them somehow underneath here. What's kind of cool is it literally locks in to the frame there, but I don't know if that's of any use. Then these are just temporarily put in place. I know they need to be spaced out. We're just trying to figure out where the coax cables run through. So, oh yeah, our center stack's gonna consist of, let me see if I get this right, autopilot on the bottom, COM 2, the 650, and then COM 1 on top. And the hideaway for the, I think, COM 1 or whatever is gonna be here, and the transponder is gonna be back there. And the reason we chose that is, A, I've seen other people do it, and there's a lot of sense because the transponder, this wooden piece is a transponder module, that antenna cable is only going to go to here, so that's nice and short, and the audio panel, half the wires are going to go right to the center console, so we might mount that here. I might mount it on the floor, but I'm thinking on the sides because this way we can actually put a door in here and use this for storage. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, step one, made some L brackets for the vertical power. They only give you these mounting screws, if it comes with brackets. I didn't look for them, I didn't see them, but that's fine, because they're gonna match the Garmin brackets that are kind of on that. Step two, 40 thousandths aluminum. I made a 8-inch wide tray. I'm probably gonna cut these angles off. This is the bottom side, kind of give you an idea where the structure is for the tubes for the cage. And yeah, so I'm going to cut this off, and what I'd like to do is make a mount so when this goes in, that kind of slides in the back. So I'm thinking like a piece of aluminum that's riveted there, so then basically you only have 2 screws in the front. So when you're hanging up underneath the dash, you remove these 2 bolts and you can actually slide the unit out, and the same thing goes for the 2 Garmin hideaways. All right, we'll see if this is gonna work. Basically I just made 1/2-inch straps out of 40 thousandths. They're gonna be riveted, one here, one here, one here, one here, here. They're 1 inch longer than the other ones. And then in theory that should allow you to, once that's secured, slide the unit out, or in this case slide it in, and secured with 2 bolts. Well, the heat shut off about 2 hours ago, or 4 hours ago, but your mind's going a million miles an hour. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, but I'm excited because this little thing worked out pretty good. So here are the little strips that I riveted in. There's a little spacer underneath, as you can tell. And yeah, you literally should be able to reach in from underneath the panel, slide that in, put 2 bolts, and yeah, disregard the hardware for now. Ugh. But yeah, so the idea here is that if you make it serviceable, you don't have to service it. So, and then P-clips on here. There's gonna be another P-clip there. I gotta go get more. Another P-clip here. These will be held in with 10/30 seconds, or AM3 hardware. This is 8/30 seconds. all the way across, and same thing with this. And I think in the back we can either do clips, or I'm also thinking of doing a piece of angle angle aluminum, a la this, riveted to the firewall so that sandwiches in. So you could literally undo 4 bolts and pull this whole thing out for serviceability. Not 100% certain on that yet, but yeah, so that was really cool. That came out awesome. All right, good night. Oh my God, look at the mess I made. All right, got it all cleaned up, and now I'm working on some mount for the backup battery. We got 2 of them that are gonna go probably up underneath here somehow, and also some kind of slide in for the back of this that's gonna mount to the firewall. And when you're not sure which piece of aluminum, extruded aluminum, will work best, you go to your shop and you take everything you got. So something's gotta work. We'll figure it out. But first, what I'm going to do is actually assemble the rest of this center stack, because this is kind of the cutout. This is 7 1/4, so it's an inch wider, 1/2 inch on each side than the actual components. Somewhere, if it gets to the point that I should just make 2 separate trays, that's an option as well, because there's going to be a mount here and a mount here. And then I know this part needs to mount to there, so I'm gonna work on that before I get too far ahead of myself. All right, before I cut the carbon fiber, I'm looking at my panel, and as much as I like having one big piece in here, I decided that I'm actually going to cut out the middle and cut these end pieces off too. We're not going to mount anything there, and the only thing we have is this CO detector, actually, carbon monoxide, and I don't even know where that needs to get mounted, but we'll worry about that later. I'm going to cut this off here and cut this off here, because there'll be 2 clamps that hold it, and then I'm going to put 2 more clamps back there. This will also free up room for any wiring that we need, save weight, and the ignition wires from the Lightspeed ignition need to go through there. So there's really no sense in keeping this one big shelf, even though I like it, but it's going to be 2 small shelves. And then there was 2. So that's all fine and good, but I kind of cornered myself as to how to mount it. I can mount, you know, the front 2, like I said. Then I had visions of putting an L bracket on the firewall, so that just wedges in there. But then I kind of wanted the rubber from the cushion clamps. I don't know if you need it or whatever, but and I bought C-channels with rubber gaskets, and I was going to put that on the firewall and have that go in, but I couldn't get anything that really fit tight, because this one here is 4 or 3 pieces of 40,000s, and this is just 1, and nothing really that I liked. So then I'm like, all right, screw it, I'll put the C clamps in, the P clamps, or whatever, cushion clamps, but I couldn't get them through here, and wouldn't you know it, exactly where everything lines up is right on a welded tab in the firewall. So I couldn't get any clamps in there. I could make, again, a bigger tray, but I couldn't get these to line up, plus I need this space for the backup battery underneath. I was just running into one issue after another, but then I think I got it. So what I'm gonna do is I made the magic, I don't know, whatever you want to call this, half a P clamp, and I put a little bit of hose on there, so that gives me my rubber cushioning, and I'll make 4 of those, and basically it'll snap into there. It'll be riveted to the top panel, and it snaps in there, and then there'll be the screws from the cushion clamp there, and that answers everything that I need, I think. Oh, and it'll give me enough space because this is a 5/8 tube. This is a 1/2 inch tube. It'll give me enough space underneath here to make the brackets for the backup battery. We have the Avionics backup battery going here and the ignition backup battery on that side. So anyway, once again, past midnight. Good night. I'll finish this tomorrow. Well, I'll continue it tomorrow. Well, that all took way longer than I would care to admit. Came out really good though. And now it's time to rivet some brackets on. Basically made these, trimmed these off, cleaned them up, and made a bunch of fine tuning, just trying to get it so I don't have to fix it later. I think it was worth the effort. Those things clip real nice in there. Everything's rock solid. These things on here, I'll probably reverse these bolts. Not sure if I'm going to use the stainless bolts or the little AN bolts. And yeah, take it out. You take these two nuts out and you can slide the whole thing out. And have the fuel line in there. You know, that kind of gives it that cushion and gives it that space so I can put other cushion clamps underneath here for the batteries that are going there. And yeah, it was a lot of work. And it took so long that even the time-lapse video got boring. At least I think it would. And this space here, it doesn't exactly touch the firewall. Just gotta maybe put a little pad between the thing there. All right, and that is concludes the section of the panel mount, whatever you call this, the shelf rack mount equipment.